we go. Take a look at him. The calm before the storm. Not that calm, though. Frenetic with the message to his team. Hopefully telling the team it's okay. We got this. Be ourselves. We can do this. Ultimately, at moments like this, that is the most important advice you can give to your team. And you see that the moment is, I don't want to say the moment's larger than everyone, but interesting time for teams decide to just fan out to start the game. We've seen a lot of interesting level 1 positions through the tournament and through this, adaptations going in, but they opt for the fan out right here. Everyone respecting each other's play. Now, the first one to flinch is going to be T1. They're sending 3 people over, pinging into the side bushes, saying, hey, maybe we can make a check. Now, this can have catastrophic implications, right? First off, you only brought 3 people, which is dangerous. There's a chance that 5 people could have been in this bush. I'm not sure that they had spotted the Gragas at that point. Now, Gragas showing aggression, knowing that he's seen 3 people on the bot side. If you're T1, you can infer that Gragas's aggression implies that he knows that 3 people are bottom. Very tricky to make that in this pressure moment, but you actually know that as T1, you know his aggression means that they saw you bot. That's what you have to assume. T1 does not make the read, and they're trying to hold that push, not doing anything to manipulate the wave, which means that because they stood there and because they got nothing, it means JDG was able to get a leash off. It's not something that you normally do in these games. A lot of times you'll see Sejuani start on Wolves or on Raptors, just using the AoE damage to get the clear, but instead gets the leash in for themselves. And it means that Sejuani is going to be first on the map on the far side. Not only that, but Gragas, with their aggression onto Gwen, was able to get a deep ward that's positioned on that blue. So you see a plan formulating for JDG already. They look sharper already. If I was going to say one of the teams looked a little bit more nervous, it was T1. Faker, for as good as he's been, has been capable of getting a little bit hyphy in these game 5s. Rarely do we see his best games in these high pressure moments. So T1, will they be able to come through? Let's talk about the team compositions. They got the Gwen for themselves again, slightly different this time. It's not into a cakewalk top matchup like Ornn. They've got it into Gragas. Gragas has a little bit more ability to fight back, especially at the first 2 levels before Gwen really has access to the amplifiers, right, where you can start dash, stacking, snip, get in with aggression and all that. You saw that at level 1, able to take the front end of the fight. They paired it again, Gwen with Maokai and Nautilus. So again, same sort of comp. Now this time, this is a game where Abyssal Mask is actually going to carry double duty. So it will be a very strong pick for themselves. Not only will it be strong into Sylas, but it will also amplify Gwen's damage in these mid-game team fights and end-game, of course. So I'm looking forward to that. I do expect to see some burning damage from Owner. I would like to see a change from the build from last time. I really want to see Liandry's Anguish. And I think this is just a testament to, again, we talked about it earlier. When a champion goes out of meta, the updated builds, they don't update the builds, right? So since Maokai got nerfed, Demonic Embrace got nerfed. And because of that, it may not be the best item anymore. In fact, I'm confident that Liandry's Anguish is a better first item. We'll see if Owner goes onto it. They showed last time that they still were going demonic into tank engage items. I don't think it's appropriate for this game, but we'll see if they make the adjustment. Now, something that we haven't seen an adjustment for yet this game, we see for multiplicative times the cull versus cull start, saying we are going scaling versus scaling. We just want to get higher, faster, farther than you. No one opting for the Doran's Blade all in. We've mentioned it before, not in this series, but the rock, paper, scissors of longsword 3 potions being plenty good to sustain you up against Doran's Blade, and then you rush your build and you get a spike versus whoever starts Doran's. That's viable, but if someone's going to go longsword and 3 potions, then you can go cull and potion because they don't have enough threat to all in you. And if someone goes cull, then you can counter that by going Doran's Blade. So truly a rock, paper, scissors. And at this level, those little differences, they matter 100%. And so, anyways, what that leaves us with is more calls. First back going to T1. They do have the better CS here. Aphelios Lulu getting a little bit extra damage from that extra range. Despite having a notoriously weak lane phase, Jinx is kind of a one-trick pony at level 1 as well. And Aphelios is happy to sustain using the shield from the red gun and the heal to keep themselves topped off in this fight. It means that they get the first back. It also means that they get to shop for slightly more gold, which means we see Berserkers plus Longsword, which is much better for trading, and I mean much better than for trading than this Noon Quiver. Noon Quiver better for farming, yes, all right, you get that extra passive, but it's all for minions. It's not going to help you win these trades. Berserkers, Greaves could be a point of strength for T1. Now that said, if you're JDG and you get out of this situation unscathed, despite being lower range, despite having Noon Quiver for farming, not really for the all-in, then you're absolutely going to be in a good spot for yourself. Now they show other strength elsewhere. Where is it going to be? It's going to be a lockdown onto Faker. Faker fumbling in mid lane. I want to see how they set this play up. Look for ward timings. We can see right now that the map's got nothing, so this could be an adaptation that JDG is making based on ward timings. When do they drop? When do these players tend to put wards out? Well, if it's fairly rote that they always do it after second cannon, or they always do it after first cannon, and then it'll be gone for second cannon, then you can exploit and you can make this play. Either way, JDG finding daylight for themselves. First push on bottom, they start the dragon. Now they do start this with a control ward in the pit. Means that perfect information is had by T1 to start this fight, but they don't pull the trigger. Why ever not? Situation was great. You had the push in bot wave. You could have gotten in as Guma and Keria. You've got the range advantage. Nautilus is coming over with level 6. Have to feel that they would have been advantaged there. Kind of showing it. I mean, the narrative has been the same in these T1 losses. The thing that has been true in all of them is that the communications have been slightly off. Am I forward? Are you back? Is it happening at once? This team has not moved in perfect synergy, which is why people have been seeing them as having a point of weakness. Despite all of their strengths, if you don't have that one skill aligned, you can lose fights. And that's how JDG has been winning, and that's been their strength. Right, not just individual play of Gragas. He's been playing great on this champion. Knight has been fantastic. Right, all of the players have been playing great, but they're playing great together. So if there's a difference in this game, it's going to come to that, because compositionally, we actually have a slight problem with the comp as far as being just one Jinx for melee or for physical damage dealing is going to be way too effective for this Nautilus to build the Abyssal Mask and get into these fights. So JDG is going to have to execute or find points of weakness to make this work for themselves, because frankly, the situation is so good for Abyssal Mask into Anathemas that I wouldn't mind 2 of these champions getting it. Especially Maokai, right? You're going to run out of gold, and if you go for Liandry's, right, you've already got the Abyssal Mask from one champion. Not awful to not have a second. That's fine. But as far as the other pieces, I'd like to see that build path from Maokai. Good job by Knight saying, how dare you try to freeze this on me? No cannon coming in means it's still going to be enough to hold the freeze. 3 minions. You need 4 if the cannon's there, but the 3 range ones will be enough. In this position, Faker tried to step up the wave to bring them together. It means that he's going to be in a tough spot. Now, Owner has found an angle. Ooh, misplay here by the Gragas, not realizing that the Maokai had the angle. That was not a good flash. Definitely a panic play there. They get the kill from themselves, and ever importantly, it's on Gwen. Now expect Faker to move this line up. He's opting not to, which means this is going to break. So the freeze is broken now. This will be the end of that. Kanavi getting a singular trade-off. This is good. Gets to hold down the wave. Now the fact that he's pushing means that they're definitely going for a play up in top lane. Or just trying to reset the situation, right? Knight is covering for this lane. Perfectly done by Kanavi, saying, all right, I'm here. My mid laner's going to go take this wave. I will hold it by pushing it. Put the pressure on the enemy champion and see what they've got coming. Now, Nautilus opting to stay is going to go for one more push, which means that 369 comes for one more wave. Now, this is a lethal combination potentially. With Everfrost already, he could get the better of Faker here. Probably just going to try to push, though. But Faker stepping up does take the Everfrost to the face. It's not going to be enough to threaten his death. But if Gragas ultimate were up, make no mistake, he would go for it and he would get it. Probably worth saying that Faker would probably not give him that window if it were up, but an important detail to note. So now, Zeus, Gwen, snipping up, catching Knight on the recall means that Gragas probably has to stay for one more wave, or he can come over. They can do the same thing as before. One other champion needs to come pick up this wave or hold mid. One of the two things has to happen, otherwise they're going to lose out. It looks like they get the push out just fine here, and Gragas is able to get back to this wave. Nautilus is not rushing to pick up this wave, and they use the teleport. So that is how they get all of the gold onto the map for themselves. Now, we've seen this before. Is there going to be a rotation where we're going to set up for Dragon and leave players in lanes, or are they going to rotate over? Last time we saw Malphite getting kind of lost as far as where to be, taking 3 recalls in 90 seconds and then being pulled away from the lane that he went to. Largely being one of the factors that led to the demise of T1 last game. Are they going to be able to improve on that? Now, Jinx, first one to complete a major item and not going Gale Force. Worth noting, going for the Kraken Slayer, which is a big spike in damage, and it is a note as to the team comp. This is fantastic building by Ruler, knowing that you already have 3 fairly large beefcakes in the mid lane. Sylas probably going with more of an assassin type build with the first strike, but we already saw the Rod of Ages, so it can be tough to kill Sylas, Sejuani, and Gragas, but they're going to be low damage, and because they're low damage, Ruler adjusts his build and goes Kraken Slayer. Expect to see more damage, a less defensive items. They've got 4 melees to help appeal for the Jinx. So I want to see full threat at all times from Ruler and really try to get that first upfront kill. Owner has purchased Demonic Embrace. That's that. Nautilus on the path with the Catalyst, almost definitely buying the Abyssal Mask. As we said, it's going to be as good in this game as it's ever been. Gwen getting the Merc Treads makes a lot of sense. You're playing against triple AP topside with lots of crowd control, although most of it is in the form of knock-ups, which you're not going to be able to resist. So really it's the Everfrost, it's the Permafrost that you're looking to get away from, but still the extra damage mitigation will be nice as well. Merc Tread's just feeling really good here in general. I wouldn't mind any of these champions really showing me a second Abyssal. It is that good of an item. Gwen too, completely underrated. Getting extra stats for yourself. The fact that you're spamming spells in fights means that you're healing up off of those as well. You're staying topped off. It also makes sure that everyone around you is getting less magic resist. You're not always going to get perfect snips that are going to give true damage. So I would not mind seeing a second one by about the 9th item combined, right? So if you have 9 items combined, yes, you've got the rush from Nautilus, but by 9 items with these top 3 champions, I would expect to see another one. That makes it so that your magic damage starts adding up a little bit more, makes it so that Anathemas is not as good against you. Definitely in the realm of possibilities for the Sejuani especially, to just take Anathemas, plug it into the Aphelios, and go with something like Warmogs, and just say, I'm an immovable object here in this fight. I can step forward. You have no threat against me whatsoever. Wouldn't even be bad for them to pick up an Abyssal Mask for themselves based on the damage profile that they've got with Sylas and Gragas. Now, it's always worth noting, what can Sylas do in a fight? Hold on, we'll talk about the fight first. We have an engage from Faker into Maokai ultimate, but it's against Rakan, which means they're not able to find anything in return. Flash forward from Knight, getting a 4-man knock-up on the Nautilus, And Jinx is going crazy. Can she carry this fight? She has to step into the ring if she wants to fight against Zeus, but never will. What was that hook? The knife's edge of this fight just incredibly close, but you see the difference of the Kraken Slayer, Ruler playing on the edge, cracked out of their mind. What a fight. I could just watch that fight like 10 times in a row, make the rest of the video about that. In fact, you know what? That's what I'll do next. After this game, I'll just break down that fight because in all likelihood, that fight just decided this match. JDG has the huge upper hand going into the rest of the game. So yeah, check out, I'll put a link in the description below. Once I do finish that video, we're just going to break down that fight, every single element, what leads to it. Because, I mean, these guys are playing out of their mind. You see the execution at that level. It's just so good. Here we go. Here's the replay. We get Hook into Knight. Dashes out. Now, what's the position? You see Gragas coming over. Ruler steps away from the Maokai ult, so there's no tag. So here we go. We got E-Flash onto the Aphelios. So despite the red-white guns, they're able to blow him up. He gets some amount of damage, but not enough. Then we step back. You see Ruler stepping back, but Gwen is also. Now look at that hook angle from Faker. Ruler actually getting saved by the fact that his collision point kept him on that side of the wall, meant that he is able to stay alive and tiptoe that fight. And that is how close these fights are. Just incredible to watch. See the position. Yeah, that's excitement. You guys better be pumped. You should be pumped. So what I was going to say is it's good to think about what Sylas ultimates you can take, right? And how that's going to affect the fight. Well, T1 might have a plan for the Maokai ultimate, although they don't have the Ornn or the Yasuo or the Rakan that becomes an easy follow-up to a Maokai stack. But what about on the form of JDG? They can create Maokai stacks. What's going to happen if they stack up? Well, Sejuani will be able to ult, hit multiple people, and then Gragas will be able to hit his ult and split the team in two. If that ever happens, JDG will run away with the fight. Absolutely keen to happen, and is one of the most powerful things you can do is to grab a Sylas whenever they take Maokai, because it's just so much better on you than it is on them. Abyssal Mask finally being completed by Faker. 0, 2, and 2. We said that he doesn't always have his best games in Game 5s. This is not one that he would want to have this one over, at least the first 10 minutes of this game. Not going well at all for him. Is he going to be able to come back? Sometimes we see him try to do a little too much. He just steps out a little bit too far, gets caught out. Good job by T1 consolidating. Now that was an opportunity for an ult to be drawn. Could have used, for example, Sejuani ultimate. But they say, you know what, they're going to use a lot of spells. We can use this momentum and cooldowns to take advantage of the jungle. Now look at Gragas' position. This time he's going to go with his team, right? So he's not going to be a one-trick pony. He's not always going around. Now let's look at the stack here. Let's see what they can do in response. They don't actually stack up well. 3 people connecting on the roots means that we have good damage from T1, but a 5-man knockup from Gragas ultimate. Faker opting to go back in. Now, snip, snip. Is the fight going to be around pit, or are they going to go to the carries? You need to go to the carries and win, but T1 goes in 2 different directions. Again, means that they do get the dragon for themselves, but it means that they're going to die. Owner is going to die. This is a win for JDG, losing just 1 member, getting 2 at the cost of just the dragon. Now, they've got onus on the map, right? Severely, or much higher bars here. The Gwen is going to have to step away from these waves. Gragas is happy to show up half health because he's going to chunk all of this energy back. Now we do see an adaptation from Gragas here going with Oblivion Orb. So let's check out the fight again. Look, multiple people getting stacked up. Now importantly, Kanabi not getting stacked up and has Aftershock on. So it can't really be the point of attention there. Gragas getting all 5 people with the ultimate, just incredible. Now he finds this angle to go forward. Now if you're Guma and Keria, you have to step up and deal damage to the limit here. Keria has not dealt damage in 10 seconds. Not even trying, just trying to live entirely through Guma. That can be the difference. Are you landing more glitter lances? Are you getting auto attacks off in fights? Those stack up, they matter. Team also just going in two different directions, again, showing that they are not on the same page. I don't doubt T1 could have won that fight if they played perfectly and came together. The advantage was always going to be JDG's, but now it is tremendously in their hand. 2.5K advantage. Everything is going to revolve around the Baron pit now. See all the vision that they've laid out for themselves. 3 shallow wards in their own quadrant, diagonally placed, right? Try to create a triangle of vision with the control wards, and then a line of vision with the vision wards, all right? So check out that topside river. See what they've done? Blue, blue, blue control wards in their western quadrant, and then they get the vision out in front, and they're using Maokai Presence. This is the advantage of this pick. However, I must discuss the fact that it's not Liandry's. It's fewer. It's that many fewer saplings around. Means it's a little bit easier for Kanavi to just charge through this. And check this out. Kanavi is buying Abyssal Mask. We said it was coming. It's coming. I expect this to be that into Warmogs. Once you have Abyssal Mask and Warmogs as a Sejuani, you don't need to care about face-checking Maokai. Even just on Abyssal Mask, that's fine. But once you have the Warmogs, you truly can just ignore all of the damage that's coming in, because you just walk through, you collect all the saplings, you walk out, you heal up, and you're good. Now, Faker finding an angle saying Kanavi split away from his team, but it's just 2-on-2. The carries are not in a position because they're fighting for the wave. Now, JDG 369 stepping up with Gragas, taking a little bit of damage, willing to trade resources because he's got that passive. Now look at this build, interestingly going looking like he might go Banshee's Veil. He might just buy that item for the stats and say that he really wants Morella Nomicon. But Gragas not really looking to get the 100 for 0 chunk. Sometimes with some builds, yes, you see it, especially from the jungle. You see it with Night Harvester, so you might see more Morella Nomicons there. But here I expect it to be Oblivion Orb into the rest of Banshee's Veil. And that's just being a nod to the engage potential from Nautilus, from Maokai. It's not that important of an item. I wouldn't mind him just leaving either of these components in his inventory and just leaving them as is, but it will be interesting to see where he opts to go with it. Now, T1 fighting for priority. They've lost the control wards. All right, everything's been moved out, so they're going to have to recreate lines of scrimmage, but now they're down 3K. JDG is going to do this squeeze after squeeze after squeeze. Only after they've accomplished the first squeeze will they come back and collect their jungle camps. That's how you expand on these leads that you get, right? You come out, you claim a quadrant while the enemy team reclaims it for themselves. That's when you go and get your own camps or you get your recalls. So JDG coming back on the map. They've got 2 items and almost an Infinity Edge on Ruler. You expect him to want to get this recall in, but there's 31 seconds on the Dragon, means that he's oh so close and yet so far to that Infinity Edge spike. So if there's going to be a point of strength, this will be it. Maokai has 2 items. Gwen has 2 items. Faker's Nautilus still very far behind, and Aphelios with Gale Force Infinity Edge. A nod to just the amount of damage that he's going to have to deal against fairly low armor champions in general. You can go for this greedier straight up damage build. You don't need armor pen. You just want to go for the damage, but that is the only major source of sustained damage apart from the Gwen. If JDG is able to create these fights, split them up, or use Silas Ultimate to steal Maokai or Nautilus and just recreate the fight in their own favor, then they should be able to get it. Now, T1 saying, I don't like the situation of this fight. We want to make a high-pressure situation. Play now. Oh, retreating this way, you're in a ton of trouble. Let's see the Sejuani ultimate. They're going to hit everybody. Maokai still an ultimate coming in. They're going in. Now, the fight is going to be consolidated upwards. Knight is off by himself, means that T1 actually gets to fight for themselves. I don't like how JDG has moved themselves to the upward right position, and it means that T1 hunts them down. Now, Kanavi, are you going to be able to find an angle here? I doubt it. Maybe it is able, because of his tankiness, to just get off to the side. But a little bit slow on the trigger means that they're not able to get their priority targets there. And T1 going straight over to Baron, and they're going to take this from themselves. Sejuani unable to get anything on the map. Now, T1 could go and try to take 2 camps at once, but because it's a Jinx respawning, you want to bring the Maokai over to make sure that you can smite and secure the Baron, make sure that no one's hitting it. There are other avenues, right? You can just walk out and block, but take a look at this play again. Gragas ultimate only connecting with 1 this time. Sejuani never getting the good angle out. And you see that the fight was able to take it. Now you see it's the first team that was able to consolidate the fight and move forward that's able to win. Knight just a little bit too little too late with that stolen Nautilus ultimate. And this is what T1 was trying to create. They were trying to create imbalance. Right? We're losing. How can we possibly win? Well, we can try to make you make mistakes. We can step up. We're going to go forward. We're going to force this play onto Baron with a distinct plan to peel back, look for a re-engage. They end up catching JDG, taking 1 too many steps off to the side, and it allows them, T1, to wedge forward and create the proactive play. Not negligible that Gragas missed his ultimate, right? If Gragas hits more people on the ultimate instead of, it looked like he was aiming for a 5-person ultimate and only hit 1. If he aims that towards the chunk, gets it a little bit further, maybe that's a different fight. But because that trigger is pulled and because Gragas is not able to separate the team enough, it means that T1 takes the fight for themselves, and with that, they take an enormous gold lead. That said, the price for it was Dragon. They almost came over and rotated in time. It does mean that there is a potential for Cloud Soul to be done. If that happens, with the speed of these ultimates that can come up, right? Both Sylas, Sejuani, Gragas, and even Rakan, extra movement speed and extra haste on these abilities means that they might just be able to find you. They might go for 1 iteration where they feign an all-in, try to get you to blow your cooldowns, and then say we get it back. This is all surmising whether or not they get Cloud Soul or not. But it could be an avenue that comes about. Now, Sylas using an ult very much just for zoning here. They're using it for tempo just to push the wave out. Now, can they catch anything for themselves? Interesting use. I wonder if it was just timing out and he felt like he had to get rid of it. Or maybe that he was due to go bot lane to pick up this wave and it was just going to be the best use that he could get, trying to make sure that that timer is back up in time for the next fight. That is something that these pros will be mindful of, right? The timers, when Sylas can pick up your ultimate, right, has to do with a combination of your level and theirs as far as when you'll be able to cast these ultimates. So sometimes they'll make a decision like that. Just let me waste this. Let me just use it because I want to be able to use it again sooner. And with nothing coming up for more than 3 minutes, it makes like a very reasonable play. Now we see another zoning Maokai ultimate into a fast Baron empowered recall here. Love this play from T1. This is shaping up to be an exciting ending. 3.5k gold lead. They've gotten an inner turret for themselves, which is a huge boon to the gold. Now they've got the early priority to set up around Baron. I wouldn't mind seeing Maokai just take this last cycle of camps and immediately go over towards the pit and start just dropping saplings everywhere. Everywhere. The more the merrier. They don't need to be in bushes either, right? Any path that's being crossed is enough, right? You're creating time for yourself. You're creating HP leads here and there. Don't like this position of the ward here from Nautilus. Not something that I expect them to be able to protect. But maybe if they take their aggression into top lane, they might be able to get it. Now, they do show that aggression. Gragas, exceptionally tanky, but not tanky enough, is taken down. And they're going to burst. But the teleport does come through. Knight is able to disjoint. Now, look at this fight. Gwen having near-perfect situations. Now, this is the formation you want from JDG. You've got Kanavi tanking everything and is able to heal up. It looks like he had Triumph as well. That was a burst proc, either a level up or something gave him a chunk of health, keeps him alive, and JDG actually escapes with better health bars, and with a dead Maokai means that they're going to be able to reclaim the map for themselves. Beautiful, beautiful fight. Ocean and Chemtech Dragons being important in these fights, right? How much lockdown is going to come down, especially when you're low. 369 inting for that Krug gets him killed, but look at all the resources that are used. Flashes, ultimates, damage to the turret, The fact that they're bursting in. Now look at this. Knight getting in and dashing out immediately, consolidating with his team. Owner is shaking the team on the backside here, but not enough immediate follow-up. Look at this play from Faker. This is a mistake. Another time stepping to the right, getting a little bit too predictive means that they don't have enough follow-through, and they can't kill Sejuani here. And Maokai dies. So another mistake from the GOAT. Gonna have to time warp ourselves back 20 years that when you called someone a GOAT in a competition, it's because they sucked. They made some kind of play that was foolhardy. But Faker not having a good series at all, and this game in particular making multiple missteps. Showing that he is mortal, after all. Now let's check out this fight. Maokai ult being used. Ruler hiding behind Sejuani. They give up the dragon, but can they take the fight? The Silas ultimate coming back is not strafed well. They don't get a good split, which means that Jinx is able to get upfront damage. And again, Kanavi survives with 300 health or less. Tense fights. This is a game 5. This could be the finals. If this is a preview of the finals, I mean, my goodness, because they're playing it like it's a finals. It feels like a finals. Just absolutely out of control how tight this game is and the level of League of Legends being played. Now, T1 making the same play that they did last time, saying we've got a little bit of tempo. Let's see if we can turn it into a pit play. It's something that they do better than literally every other team in the entire world. Ooh, 5 people funneled in right at a moment. They missed an opportunity. If they're going to fight, that might have been their ticket in. Faker a little bit late means that they get knocked out. Jinx gets excited. They're going to take this front-to-back fight every single time. And they win it, which means they are going to take the Baron. And suddenly, catastrophically, this game has fallen out of T1's hands. I love this. Defy. That's right. I love this guy's repping right now. Mascotting for all of China in this game. I love it. Keep up that energy, man. If I'm JDG, if that's not already my hired hype man, I want that guy. Get him onto our team. Now they missed the hook. It looks like they were going for Ruler and only Ruler, because Faker aimed that shot where it looked like it wouldn't connect with the wall even if it missed. So it was meant to hit Ruler and no one else. But that front-to-back situation, right, if you could have gotten them right at that bend when they were truly stacked up, it would have been so much better. Instead, they get a split fight where none of their area of effect is going to matter. And JDG gets the rest of the fight. Now let's check out their technique for ending with Baron. Expect them to go for double inners at the very least and a major gold lead, if not more. By the end of this Baron power play, they want to have pressure. They want to have these 2 turrets down, and they want to have lingering vision in the eastern quadrant. All right, this is the baseline. That's it, the least of what you want to get out of this play. If enemy team engages, there might be windows where you can punish them for their reach, but make this the goal, right? These 2 turrets down. Gragas is going to start coming over to protect this flank side, make sure that they're not pressured. And this allows JDG to start moving some of their vision to the right side of the map, right? The dragon is in 2 minutes and 18 seconds. The Warmogs is not complete here, and we're not sure that's going to be Warmogs. It could be Thornmail from Sejuani to opt for the healing reduction, which is very good against Gwen, very good against Maokai, and of course, Aphelios. So it seems like a very realistic chance that they go for it. But check out chip, and then move in together, consolidate, and make a fist. Right? What's stronger, 5 or 1? 5 or 1? The 1 is stronger, right? If you can get everyone moving together into one goal, then you can punch harder. You can make that play, right? A grip has nothing in comparison with a fist. Now, JDG is going to ignore the top side most likely. Now, you see them lining up. Look at this angle on the Maokai ultimate. It means that they're going to strafe and block everything. 369 casting a spell forward, anticipating the damage coming up. Gwen is going for a teleport, is coming in at this angle, but not enough damage up front. Guma is ripping into them, but that's the end of the fight, and Faker does not have enough to continue for the team. Yet again. So now with Baron up with 20 seconds, expect them to try to take this for a win. They've got 5 versus 3. That's enough for a winning advantage with a Baron play. Faker and Carrier desperately trying to get some HP back, but Carrier realizing that there's not enough time. Faker going back means that, yes, you got a little bit more hit points for yourself, but it means that the turrets are going to be dead. JDG correctly slamming the door shut, not going to give you any chance to get back in, and JDG is going to win this game on the backs of perfect play. Perfection. JDG looks better than any team I've ever seen play on the international stage. They look incredible. Can't wait to see the rest of this tournament. Holy crap. I hope we see these teams in the finals, but either way, this is exciting, guys, to see this level of play. I had to catch my breath. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel out a lot. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep it surreal. Peace.